Hello and welcome to the news at 4 on CoreTV News Lagos. My name is Christian Ogodo. Thanks for joining us. Participants at the annual consultative meeting between the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMAS, are calling for the establishment of an emergency trust fund by state government. The endowment is to be funded with 1% of eternally generated revenue and 1% of monthly allocations from the Federation account to the states through appropriate legislations. Participants say this has become necessary due to lack of defined funding sources and allocation criteria for the SEMAs by state governments, resulting to over-reliance on NEMA. They further observed that most of the SEMAs are either not funded or are inadequately funded in spite of the enormity of the disaster management activities in the state. In addition, Director General of NEMA, Muhammad Sani Sidi, advocates stronger coordination among critical stakeholders, especially between the coordinating agencies and the federal and state levels, noting that effective disaster management and humanitarian service delivery cannot be achieved by one tier of government alone. Participants at the meeting include executive secretaries, head of state emergency management agencies from each state, NEMA zonal coordinators, and other senior management staff. The chairman of Riom Local Government Council has requested for more police deployment to his council area. The local government boss made the call when the state police commissioner paid him a courtesy visit at the council secretariat. Our Plateau State correspondent has more details.
Riom local government area has been at the forefront of the communal clashes that is denting the image of Plateau State. The local government chairman said his people are more comfortable with the police than the military, who have been accused severally of taking sides in communal clashes. It will be recalled that the former Senator of Plateau North, Senator Datong, lost his life in Riom during a communal clash.
People rely more on the military because there are no police. For instance, somewhere in Bachin, even with the presence of a police station, there is no police posted in Bachin.
In his response, the police commissioner told the local government boss that he has been briefed adequately by his predecessor on the challenges the area is facing, adding that plans are underway to ensure total restoration of peace in Riom and other warring communities in the state.
Community partnership, we emphasize nowadays. People should never be tired, should not be daunted.
Communal clashes in Plateau State, which has lasted over a decade and a half, has rendered several communities powerless socially and economically due to mass movement of people from the affected areas.
With the Independent National Electoral Commission raising alarm over what it describes as unacceptable level of electoral-related violence, the issue has once again taken the front burner of political discourse in the country. In this special report, correspondent Kazim Kasali takes a look at electoral violence in Nigeria's political and democratic development. His report. Okay, we'll be bringing you details of that report in our subsequent bulletin, and we'll move to other stories now. Budgetary issues, and the National Assembly has been deliberating on the 2016 appropriation bill before it. And some of the observations raised include government's borrowing plan, existing deficits, and the downturn in oil prices that could affect the full implementation of the 2016 appropriation bill. A National Assembly correspondent, Basi Aye, has been speaking with the senator representing Kebbi Central Senatorial District on other ways of generating revenue to fund the budget. Well, we'll be bringing you that package in our subsequent bulletin. And the fall in international oil price that has led to a shortfall in revenue in oil-producing countries like Nigeria has become a wake-up call to governments at all levels to look inward for other means of generating sustainable revenue. In this special report, our Plateau State correspondent samples the opinion of the agric sector managers in the state on their plans to boost the sector. His report.
It goes without saying that years of lip service paid to the critical issue of economic diversification at all levels of government in the country is directly responsible for the economic crunch facing the nation today. Several states' government, Plateau State being one of them, has been unable to pay its workers' salaries despite having many sectors from which it can generate sustainable revenue.
The sing-song of every government now at all levels is to diversify the economy. And to diversify the economy, it has been thought expedient and appropriate that the agricultural sector should be a viable alternative.
The member representing Just South constituency in the Plateau State House of Assembly, Honorable Nyam Dareng, who is the House Committee Chairman on Agriculture, said it has become inevitable for the state government not to invest in agriculture due to its labor-intensive nature that will provide youth employment and improve the general condition of the state's economy.
Everything in the world is about agriculture. And I believe government investing and looking inwards into agriculture is a very viable investment because since the heydays creation, it was about agriculture.
A Director General of one of the agric farms in Plateau State stressed that with the renewed efforts government is having towards agriculture, they plan to take advantage of the arable lands and peculiar crops that Plateau State is endowed with.
We have satellite stations in different areas, and we intend to expand these satellite stations and even extend our services outside the state. A lot of states have indicated interest.
Although the state government is said to be doing its best in revamping agriculture in the state, the principal manager of Plateau Agricultural Development Program said there is little that can be done at the moment due to drastic shortfall of revenue coming into the state. He therefore called on the federal government to provide more bailout fund that can be used to stimulate other sectors of the economy, like the agric sector.
In preoccupying ourselves with designing the strategy for attending agricultural development in this state. So release is basic. That is why we are praying for more revenue to come to the state so that those releases amounting to the 3 billion will be pushed into the real agricultural sector.
According to the managers of the agric sector in Plateau State, the state can survive with revenue to be generated from this sector alone if the executive maintains its zeal to revamp the sector to a profitable level.
Still on economic and financial matters, the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, says Nigeria's 2016 budget will help the federal government to build a resilient economy. Addressing journalists at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, the finance minister pointed out that the country has no other choice than to borrow for capital investments through its medium-term expenditure framework. She notes that Nigeria's past borrowings were not well utilized. The finance minister further stated that the oil price has given the country a unique opportunity to do the right thing at $31 per barrel. And the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has advocated for the adoption of a collective national attitude that will make it possible to invest the over 5 trillion naira fund constituting the contributions of the nation's working class into real sectors as a means of diversifying the nation's economy and achieving inclusive growth. Fashola, speaking while delivering a keynote address at the Nigerian Pension Industry Strategy Implementation Roadmap Retreat, said the dwindling revenue from the country's major source of income, the crude oil, affirms the need to diversify and change the face of the nation's economy once and for all. In his keynote address titled overcoming the challenges and managing the risk and constraints that inhibit the investment of private capital and funds in Nigeria's infrastructure landscape in order to make a visible economic impact, Fashola notes that with the right attitude to diversification, utilizing the huge funds representing the contribution of Nigeria's working class pension, it could be shown that the national economy is bigger than the challenges posed by the dwindling oil prices. And to educational matters now, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed concern over the low ranking of the country's universities. The president, represented by the Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, Julius Okoje, made this known in Bauchi at the convocation ceremony of the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University. He says it is worrisome that no Nigerian university is quoted among the top 100 universities in the world, adding that if the country does not aspire to be among the world-class universities, then it cannot boast of a robust system capable of making the country among the top economies of the world. He blamed the incessant strikes by teachers as major bottlenecks to the progress of the country's university system. The president, however, calls on the state government to support and encourage universities situated in their domains. And still on tertiary matters, the University of Jos, in collaboration with the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, have promised their international partners of making judicious use of the grants that has been given to them. The institutions, who got over $600,000 research grant, made the promise in Jos, and here's the rest of the story from our Plateau State correspondent.
Receiving grants in Nigerian universities has not really been a problem in the last couple of years, but the judicious use of same, which has made international donors skeptical. It was on the view of this that the chairman of the grant committee from the two receiving institutions promised to use the grant strictly for its purpose.
This grant has a unique mentoring system or strategy that every research project that is to be run on this grant would have two mentors.
That AU and University of Jos have teamed up with our international partners to further stimulate and strengthen research capacity.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Jos says the grant would assist the university to foster medical research works that could improve the nation's health sector.
We'll strengthen the research curriculum of our postgraduate degree programs in both of our universities and provide scholarships for deserving junior faculty in the two Nigerian universities, at least to train them up to the master's degrees level. We will make sure that the program succeeds.
In their response, the international donors, who were represented by two professors from the United States, emphasized the specific purpose of the grant.
PEPFAR has created not only a tremendous accomplishment in saving people's lives, but it's also benefited the institutions where these programs have been developed.
The overall goal really is to create the next generation of researchers in an academic institution, medical institution, that are independent. They end up with a sustainable research program that can attract international extramural funding.
While the world is watching to see what the two northern Nigerian universities will do with the grant, it is to be noted that the University of Jos teaching staff have been on strike for the past 3 months on issues bordering on staff welfare and non-payment of their allowances.
Our state tracking education matters. The Director General of the National Teachers Institute, NTI in Kaduna, Ladan Shareu, says according priority to quality teacher training remains a key step in efforts at giving education in Nigeria a new lease of life. The NTI DG stated this in Kaduna State after commissioning some projects at the NTI National Headquarters. Our Kaduna State correspondent has more on that story.
It was not an event for speeches or academic discourse. Laden Sharehu, in company of the representative of Nigeria's Minister of State for Education, Anthony Anwoka, and the Vice-Chancellor, National Open University of Nigeria, Vincent Tenebe, commissioned a list of projects that are geared towards giving teacher training in Nigeria a big boost. Among projects commissioned at the event is an e-learning center, a computer laboratory, monitoring vehicles, and the permanent convocation square. A total of 24 brand-new Ford vehicles were distributed to the various state and zonal offices of the institute. Speaking to journalists shortly after commissioning a new NTI logo, the Director General said the project commissioning was a clear pointer to the nation's commitment at revamping the standard of education in the country. Sharehu lamented the issue of poor funding of the institute.
Actually, the background to this commissioning is actually about our interests and commitment, actually to ensure that teacher education is given its rightful position in this country, especially in the management of teacher education in Nigeria. And of course, we at the National Teachers Institute are business education and teacher education. And of course, we believe that if we want to get quality in teacher education and in education generally, we must make sure that we upgrade and improve our facilities, the facilities that are being used actually to train teachers nationwide.
Furthermore, while speaking to journalists, the Vice-Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria, Vincent Tenebe, harped on the crucial need for teacher training and financial assistance from the Tertiary Education Trust Fund.
I believe, and I personally agree, that the NTI should be encouraged to overcome some of the challenges of funding. I personally believe that as an institution that is involved in training teachers at the tertiary level, NTI also should be considered to enjoy some of the benefits of TED Fund, which is an agency meant to fund tertiary education.
The National Teachers Institute clocks 40 this year.
We'll now take you back to our earlier story on the 2016 appropriation bill before the National Assembly, where deliberation on it has started, and some of the observations raised during the course of deliberation include government's borrowing plan, existing deficits, and the downturn in oil prices that could affect the full implementation of the budget. And in this special report, our National Assembly correspondent, Bayaye, has been speaking with a senator representing Kebbi Central on other ways of generating revenue to fund the budget. Her report.
One area of focus for government is ensuring that it diversifies the economy to meet current financial demands. A member of the upper chamber says the manufacturing sector cannot be overlooked as an option. In his opinion, government should begin looking into ways of resuscitating industries that hitherto have been the main hub of the economy.
We have to look for ways and means of resuscitating these manufacturing industries. A number of them have gone to places like Ghana to produce and send to Nigeria. A number of them have gone to Senegal to produce and send to Nigeria. We should look for those factors that made them to move away from Nigeria and make sure that we confront those factors head on.
The lawmaker also points at solid minerals as an avenue to enrich government's purse.
Or if we start exploiting the mineral resources we have to the fullest, it means we can get close to about $80 to $85 billion every year. That is more than 3 times the revenue oil we are getting. So the task before us now is by no means an easy one. But with the support of everybody, I'm sure we will be able to succeed. And this is why government has taken the lead in diversifying the economy.
For him, government agencies and parastatals have to contribute their own quota to ensure a successful implementation.
We are quite convinced that the revenue target given by government, they will be able to meet it. and perhaps they may even surpass it, even though we have downturn of the economy. A number of measures have been taken to ensure that all loopholes, all leakages are blocked in terms of revenue collection in the Nigerian Customs Service.
Government will be borrowing about 1.5 trillion naira of the over 6 trillion naira needed to fund the 2016 budget. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
We also brought you a report earlier, and the visual report is ready now, and that with the National Electoral Commission raising alarm over what it describes as an unacceptable level of electoral violence, the issue is taking the front burner again in political discourse around the country. In this special report, correspondent Kazim Kasali takes a look at electoral violence in Nigeria's political and democratic development. Well, we'll be looking at that report after the break. Join us again.
I want better hospitals because I want to be a doctor and help people when they are sick. I want better education and training so I can be a soldier and protect my country. I want better roads to avoid accidents so I can get to school on time safely.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're on to CoreTV News Lagos and you're watching the news at 4 on CoreTV News. We'll begin with the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, who has reassured Lagosians of the force's readiness to combating armed robbery attacks that have terrorized the residents of Morogbo neighborhood around the Lagos-Badagry Expressway, with speculations on the existence of a robbery gang known as 1 Million Boys. The commissioner dissuades the minds of Lagosians, but enjoining them to be security conscious in their various neighborhoods.
You can go to those areas where they said 1 million boys are carrying out their activities. The officers of this command had met with the community there, and they will tell you that they don't know where those people that are reporting 1 million boys are getting their report. Just like with every other thing, it could be a way of distracting the police. It could be a way of laying ambush.
While questions were raised over the new uniform of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, the head of the Lagos State Police Command says uniform is to complement the identity of each officer.
Isn't it? It is you, my friends, that are sitting down here, that if you see a policeman on the road that is not wearing police uniform, that is operating with a vehicle that is not clearly marked police, that we send SMS to the Inspector General of Police that you have seen somebody on the road not conforming with the directive of the IG. And you are the same people that are asking me that I should cover the identity of policemen. How do you juxtapose that. That is one. Then number two, the fact everywhere in the world, the fact that someone is SARS or the fact that someone is a detective shouldn't be that it should be masquerade. There must be a face. Is it not the same media that were accusing security operatives of wearing masks? Our friend in SSS. And you are saying that I should also turn the policemen into masquerades. You need to put faces to certain operations.
Human rights activist and freedom fighter in the Niger Delta, Ankyo Briggs, has called on the federal government to tread cautiously by ensuring that innocent people in communities where oil pipelines are vandalized are not affected in the onslaught against militants who are said to be behind the bombing of oil pipelines. Briggs notes that the high deposits of crude oil, which is meant to be a blessing to the Niger Delta people, has brought a lot of sufferings in form of incessant military actions from the federal government. She wants the federal government and its military to desist from actions capable of breaching the peace in the Niger Delta region.
No, there are crimes everywhere. If a criminal activity has taken place, it is the responsibility of the police to seek out these criminals. And where the police cannot seek out the criminals, and we're now saying that a community like Baramatu is a threat to the federal government of Nigeria, then the federal government of Nigeria had declared war on Baramatu. Acts that will make people or a group of people in Nigeria or a region or a community to feel victimized is unacceptable. It's an abuse of basic people's basic human rights. Assuming that they believe it's Tompolo that did it. If they go into Baramatu and they don't see Tompolo, they should leave Baramatu.
The 2018 date of declaring Nigeria a polio-free country in the world by the World Health Organization, according to experts, will only be realizable if all tiers of government ensure adequate hygiene and medical care for the people. In this report, Abiola Oluwole looks at factors that could militate against achieving a polio-free Nigeria within the next 2 years. His report.
With the signing of the Abuja updated commitment on polio eradication by President Muhammadu Buhari, expectations of Nigerians are high that for once, polio disease will become a thing of the past in the country. At the signing of the commitment, which was first signed in 2009 and reviewed in 2011, President Buhari expresses the readiness of his administration to ensure adequate funding plus necessary monitoring to win the fight against polio.
I would like to assure you that the federal government will continue to provide strong oversight and funding for polio program. To this effect, we will constitute an expanded presidential task force on polio, which will include 36 state governors to sustain the successes of our current polio eradication activities, such as surveillance and routine immunization programs.
With the president's commitment and the support Nigeria is getting from local and foreign organizations, defeating polio scourge soon may still be a mirage if rural community like Shimpepe in Buari area of the Federal Capital Territory still exist without basic amenities. Like other rural settings scattered across the length and breadth of the country, primary health facility, potable drinking water and other basic amenities are only seen on the pages of newspapers or on television if there is power supply.
These areas were very closer to town, and I will not have good road, and I will not have lacerity. So we are request those things so that if government can see us to do us that thing and good water. If you go our liver, even to fetch that water for those people to wash leg, you people are denying.
But what do they use this one do now?
Now drinking.
But I know they do anything for now.
You go do now. See how no good now.
You the boil them.
Eh?
Your children know they sick.
You go sick. No good.
Send doctor to us. This our hospital to do it very fine to us. But the doctor, we don't have any doctor and we don't have medicine.
Irrespective of the challenges enumerated by these people, both federal and state governments are still hopeful that achieving a polio-free Nigeria in the next 2 years is visible.
This updated Abuja commitment will carry us across the finish line.
I will therefore here call on my colleagues to reiterate our commitments on ensuring that we show commitment now until end when Nigeria is announced as polio-free by 2017.
We cannot afford to renege. We stayed committed. In the last 1 year plus, we have not had a single case of polio. I believe that all the governors are committed, as our chairman did say, and we're definitely going to go back home and continue with the good work that has been done in the past.
As the country smiles with 18-month success of no polio case, to see if this updated commitment will liberate the nation from over 2 decades of polio disease siege. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The mass movement of politicians from major political parties in the country to the ruling All Progressive Congress has been a source of concern to political watchers in the country. They say the gale of defection from one political party to the APC may lead to a one-party situation or state in Nigeria. Our correspondent, Abiola Oluwole, sought reactions of Nigerians on the possibility of having a one-party system in the country. Here is his report.
The People's Democratic Party dominated the nation's political landscape since the return of democracy in 1999 till the period leading to the 2015 general elections. But the successful measure of major opposition parties in the build-up to the 2015 general elections gave the self-styled Africa's largest party sleepless nights. Aside the formidable opposition, internal squabbles contributed to the fall of the party that once held sway on Nigeria's political map. Less than a year into the loss of the party to the ruling APC, several bigwigs from the party have jumped ship. The most recent example is our former governor of Old Anambra State, Jim Nwobodo, and that of our former House of Reps member, Uche Ukwenefe. To these Nigerians, the mass defection is not new to the nation's politics. They say, after all, APC is a conglomerate of PDP defectors.
The same people that say that PDP is corrupt are moving to APC. So when they got the APC, will still be corrupt.
Is it not the same people that have been in PDP that moved to APC? They are the same people.
Every government in power always, tend to drag people to themselves in one way to have maybe favor or thereabout.
The same thing, but so we're thinking that the same party ruling is only a change of name.
I look at them as greedy politicians. They are not out there to work. What they are actually out there is for their own self, their pockets.
They, however, believe that a one-party system will not create room for divergent views in the nation's democracy.
No, I don't buy the idea. I don't buy it because it will monopolize the whole thing. So there needs to be competition.
Nation is not. That's what it's not supposed to be. No, there will certainly be opposition. There will certainly be opposition.
As clock ticks towards 2019 general elections, political watchers are keen to see the big move that will inflate or deflate the popularity of the existing political parties in the country. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And when we return, protests as Nigerian is killed by South African police in the city of Johannesburg. Join us again.
Chima, what did you do so?
Same market now.
Person when they buy the market, you don't get receipts. What did you do?
Which receipts? No be pocket money they go.
Hey, you didn't pay tax.
Who be tax? Guy, all these health centers where they run, now tax you.
My brother, make I tell you, good road, na tax. Security, na tax. No school where your children they go, how you think say them they take pay the teachers? Brother, na tax. And if you not pay your tax, my brother, then go lock your shop.
Abeg Tunde, where did they pay the tax?
Na for tax office now.
Carry me go there.
Go. Abu, help us look shop, abeg.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
You're welcome back, and you're still on to the news at 4 on CoreTV News Lagos. For more on our stories, you can follow us on the following social media platform: facebook.com/CoreTV News, at Twitter at CoreTV News NG, and youtube.com/CoreTV with a space news. And the rest of the news: South African police yesterday fired stun grenades and rubber bullets at a group of Nigerians protesting the death of an unnamed 33-year-old fellow Nigerian near Johannesburg. The scene was chaotic in front of Atrip Medical Center in Kempton Park, northeast of Johannesburg, as police clashed with the protesters. The protest took place after news emerged that the unnamed Nigerian was beaten up and suffocated to death by law enforcement agents in a police van in Kempton Park. However, South African police claimed the man overdosed on the drugs he swallowed in a bid to conceal it before his arrest. And 3 British travelers have been infected with the Zika virus, British health officials revealed this week. As of January 2016, 3 cases associated with travel to Colombia, Suriname, and Guyana have been diagnosed in the UK. The British government agency did not provide further details about the cases, but added that the virus does not occur naturally in the UK. And let's quickly bring you some sporting stories. Defending champion Novak Djokovic survived a scare against Gilles Simon to reach the last 8 of the Australian Open in Melbourne. 5-time champion Djokovic made 100 unforced errors but prevailed 6-3, 6-7, 1-7, 6-4, 4-6, 6-3 after 4 hours and 32 minutes on Rod Laver Arena. With a victory, Djokovic is now through to his 27th consecutive Grand Slam quarter-final. And finally, on the news at 4, Jose Mourinho's agent has dismissed as absolutely ridiculous and totally absurd the report that the Portuguese wrote a letter to Manchester United to trumpet his case to be their next manager. Mourinho, one of the world's most successful managers, having consistently linked with the job at Old Trafford since he was dismissed by Chelsea in December. Recent reports claim the 2-time Champions League winning manager had written a 6-page letter to United explaining his strong desire to manage the club and outlining his desire to tailor his philosophy in a way that matches that of Manchester United. But that's a package for you on the news at 4 on CoreTV News Lagos. My name is Christian.